third position to Shane Byrne. Shakey, after a little bit of a disaster yesterday, important to get back onto the podium with an additional podium point here at Silverstone, but difficult race again.
I don't know. It was a good race actually. It's a little bit of shame that it finished when it did, but you know, it is what it is, and to win a race you've got to be at the front when the flag comes, and Josh was there, and you know, James is in front, so you know, well done to those two. They done a good job. But I feel relatively happy. You know, the bike of ours is really good when it's in its little window, but unfortunately when it's not in its little window it's quite difficult to ride, and we've had sort of one dry session or whatever all weekend, which has made things really tricky. And you know, we made some big changes for that race, and you know, I got a good start, and I thought, well, you got a lead now, but my pace in the front wasn't fast at all, and Josh came through, and then James came through, but then late on in the race, Christian didn't come past as well, and I was like, whoa, hold on a minute. The only point in me being out here is taking podium credits, you know, so there's no point in not trying to fight and hang on to these two. But I got back past Christian, and as it happened, Josh hadn't really got away too far, and James was pretty much on his back wheel. But over the course of a lap or so, I started to reel them both back in, and thought, wow, do you know what? This is actually feeling pretty good now. So I was sat there, you know, nice and not comfortable, but you know, certainly riding within myself. And then the course car came out, and you know, obviously we all kind of rolled off and what have you, and we're waiting for the race to get going again, and unfortunately it never did. So as I said, a little bit of an anticlimax, but you know, I'm happy to take a podium credit. Well done to Josh and James, and yeah, roll on race 2.
Second position, James Ellison started the race from the very back row of the grid due to a 6-position penalty for changing some gearbox internals. James, after yesterday, of course, the showdown was out of reach, so the very best you could do is go out there and become a little bit of a spoiler, which you very nearly did by winning the race.
Yeah, no, we did. I said to Steve last night, actually, they'd made the decision to change the gearbox to the kit one, which we wanted to run all year. They weren't available at the beginning of the season, so we've been running a standard gearbox all year. And we've been having a few small issues with it, certainly going down to first gear. So, yeah, but making the decision early on in the season to change gearboxes and get that 6 grid spot penalty was, you know, we weren't in a position to do that. So we started in 19th on the grid, or 20th, wherever it was. We just thought, or the team thought it was a perfect time to do it, because then we've got that gearbox for the rest of the season now. So, you know, the difference between 19th and 26th, there isn't that much difference there. I may as well have started at the main entrance where everyone collects the tickets, because I couldn't see the lights, to be honest with you. But that gearbox actually helped a little bit. It was a lot more consistent going into the corners with the engine braking strategy. So, yeah, I just got into a little rhythm, made a few passes. I was passing inside, outside. The bike kind of went where I wanted it to go, which is something that very rarely happens. And when it does, you kind of just feel like you're in the zone. And it felt effortless, if I'm honest with you. I didn't sweat or anything. It was a weird race. It didn't feel like I was going fast, but obviously the pace was quick. So really happy with the bike setup, and yeah, just full credit to the team for giving me that package today. It was phenomenal.
You'll have been disappointed to see the safety car as well, because you were on a roll and it looked like you could well take it to Josh at the front.
Yeah, once I got close to Josh, I mean, I kind of got through a few people quite quick, and then obviously the more people you pass, the harder it is to pass. And I managed to get just onto the back of him, and there wasn't really anywhere where I was a lot stronger than him, or likewise he was a lot stronger than me. It was just minimal differences in certain areas, but I could see his back tyre was wearing a bit, and I felt quite comfortable. He looked fairly comfortable as well, so I didn't know how much more his was going to tail off. But like Shakey said, it's ifs and buts, you know. It probably might have stayed exactly the same if the pace car stayed out, but it would have been nice to at least have a little bit of a battle at the end. It was an anticlimax with the red flag coming out last minute. Your emotions are all still kind of hyped up, ready to race, and then all of a sudden the crowd are clapping and you finish second and you didn't see the checker flag. It's kind of a weird feeling, but at the end of the day, we did finish second. You know, more points on the board. We're out the showdown position now, unfortunately, but we're still in this championship to go out and win races, and that's the plan for race 2.
Great to see you on the podium, James. Thanks very much. Move on to the race winner. Josh, first and foremost, congratulations on qualifying for the showdown with that superb victory, the second of the year. Rather surprised that you did choose the softer tyre to go out there when just about all your rivals chose the harder tyre.
Yeah, I was equally as surprised as you, but in the other way. I thought there would have been quite a few people on the zero. It has been the common pattern throughout the year. There's particular riders like Haslam that stick with the 1. And the likes of Shakey and myself often, or every race this year, have gone with the 0. So when I had a quick look around the grid at the start before the race, I was surprised to see so many 1s. But as Shane said, in this cooler conditions, you know, it can be one or the other. You know, that the other tyre comes quite good, but you know, I knew from practice FP3 we ran a SC0, and you know, the track was cool then and had a few damp patches, so if the tyre was going to chew up, it would have done in that practice session, and it didn't. So we did full race distance on the tyre with one pit stop for a slight change, and you know, the tyre looked good, so we were confident to run with it. I did, however, you know, choose to ride quite reserved. I didn't attack the tyre, and you know, I tried to use the other riders around me as a gauge as to what the pace was of the race, so that I didn't have to you know, overuse the tyre early. And equally, as James and Shane have said, that the race was a strange end. You know, obviously, I was anticipating the pace car to go in and us to finish the race on track. And at that point, you know, I thought, well, you know, I'm going to have to. The tyre feels alright at this point, so I'm going to have to. And it was actually a surprise, 'cause I had to look over my shoulder when the safety car came out, and to see James, which I knew had started from either the back or very near the back of the grid. I was surprised that he was all the way up there. So obviously he'd had a good race to get to that position, and so in my mind that was it. You know, there was no more you know, reserving the tyre anymore. I was like had the anticipation to give it everything it had for the and expect a hard race to the end. And then to see a red flag was a surprise to me as well. But this year, a few times, me and the team have discussed, you know, the race plan and said, well, you know, that you need to be in the front or as close to the front after 2/3 distance, because if anything happens, you know, they'll declare it. And today was a perfect example when it was crucial to be in that place. So you never know when it's going to happen, but you know, you need to sort of be as well positioned as possible.
Ironically, it was your teammate as well that caused the red flag.
Yeah, I know, that's a shame. I mean, Sean's had a succession of bad luck this year. You know, his riding hasn't always been the best, but he's certainly had his share of bad luck this year as well. And you know, disappointing for him again to have more problems. But on the brighter side, it's worked out that we've got the victory.
Finally, Josh, 5 podium credits, which is vitally important now that you're in the showdown.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think now I'm confirmed in the showdown, so that takes a little bit of you know, that the stressful environment that racing is becomes slightly, like, about 1% less stressful. So yeah, it's good to know.
Byrne, Brookes, Haslam and Hickman confirmed in the showdown. The last showdown, 2 places between O'Halloran, Mossey, Dixon and Iden. So
well, it'll be
so it's 4 of you in.
It'll be a fantastic race, this next one, I'm sure, for that final position.